In this example, we're wanting to estimate the length of the diagonal of a baseball base to the nearest half inch. And we're given that each side is 15 inches, and the diagonal may be given by the square root of side squared plus side squared. So let's go ahead and substitute into, we know this is 15 squared because each side is 15 inches, plus 15 squared. And that equals 2, the square root of 2 times 15 squared, which we know is 15 times the square root of 2. All right, so now we want to estimate. We're looking for, to start off, the square root of 2. So we know the two nearest perfect squares to the square root of 2 are the square root of 4. 4 is the nearest perfect square, or 1. So we know that it's going to be closer to 1 than it is to 4, because 2 is closer to 1 than it is to 4. It's only 1 away. So we know it's going to be somewhere over here as far as the value of the square root, because there's only a difference of 1 here and there's a difference of 2 here. So now we look at, what about estimates that are in between? So let's look at tenths. So let's say this is 1, and this is 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. We'll start with 1.5. 1.5 squared, if we look at that, is going to be 2.25, and 1.4 squared is going to be 1.96. So we know that square root of 2 is going to be somewhere in between here now. Now, which one is it closer to? Is 2 closer to 1.96, or is it closer to 2.25? Well, it's going to be closer to 1.96 because that's a difference of 0.04, whereas 2.25 minus 2 is a difference of 0.25. So now we move on to the next level. Let's look at hundredths. So we're looking at, we know it's closer to 1.4, so let's look at 1.4, 1.41, 1.42, so on and so forth. So we already know 1.4 squared is 1.96. What about 1.41? And again, you can use your calculators, or you can multiply it out using normal methods. You should get the same answer either way. So with 1.41, it's 1, when we square that, we get 1.9881. And with 1.42, if we square it, we get 2.0164. So now we know that the square root of 2 is somewhere between 1.41 and 1.42. So we move on to thousandths. So we're looking at 1.41. We'll start with 4. 1.415. 1.416. If we look at 1.414, we're getting 1.999396. And with 1.415, we're getting 2.00225. So now let's look at our actual diagonal, because we still need to multiply this times 15, and we need to know what it is to the nearest half inch. So we know that with, let's change colors here again, and I'll section this off. So we started off with, we won't use the whole numbers, but we started off with 1.4 and 1.5. So we know that 1.4 is less than the square root of 2, which is less than 1.5, and that yields, with our 15 figured in, 15 times 1.4 is 21. So we know that 21 is less than 15 times the square root of 2, which is less than 15 times 1.5, which that's 22.5. Now with the next one, we looked at 1.41 and 1.42. So 1.41 is less than the square root of 2, which is less than 1.42. So that gives us that we want to multiply everything by 15. So 15 times 1.41 gives us 21.15. So 21 is less than 15 times the square root of 2, which is less than 1.42 times 15 is 21.3. All right, so we should notice something here already. We've got that 15 times the square root of 2, so the diagonal length is somewhere between 21.15 and 21.3. We don't even need to check the thousandths. And the reason for this is because both of these rounded to the nearest half inch are going to be 21 inches. So to the nearest half inch, as we're instructed in the problem, we know the diagonal length is approximately 21 inches. And just to double check, because the 21.3, that would round up to 21.5. So we will look at the thousandths, but it's not necessary because we're closer to the 15 times the square root of 2. We're closer to the square root of 2 with 1.41 than we are 1.42. So we know it's going to be closer to 21.15 than it is to 21.3. But we will go ahead and just check with our third option just to be sure. With our thousandths, we're looking at 1.414 is less than square root of 2, which is less than 1.415. And what that gives us, 1.414 times 15, 21.21. So we know that 21.21 is less than 15 times the square root of 2, which is less than 1.415 times 15, which is 21.225. And now we have both of these round down to 21. So it's verified with what we pretty much already knew with the hundredths estimation, that the diagonal to the nearest half inch is 21 inches.